again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.
Hey guys, welcome to the American Tribune Live. I am Todd Peterson, and folks, it is finally happening. I've been promising this show for months now, I think. I've been saying for a long time, we just need to do a deep dive on Jasmine Crockett. Yes, Jasmine Crockett, a Democrat representative from the Houston area, who just goes on racist rants. She's been calling for political violence in the last couple days, going viral, rightfully so, getting a lot of heat for it. And we've just got to talk about it. This was the straw breaking the camel's back here. I've had all these clips ready to go to show everybody just how vile of a human being Jasmine Crockett is. And yes, I am making the argument that Jasmine Crockett, not just acting as an individual, but representing really the Democrat Party. She is a proxy for the entire worldview, the hatred, the antipathy towards you, the American citizen. Folks, we've got it all today. We've got clips of Jasmine Crockett obviously calling for violence against Elon Musk, calling for violence most recently against Ted Cruz, really calling for violence against anyone that doesn't support the communist fascistic regime that she so desires. And she's always pretending. This is what gets me too. I got to go on this random rant for a second, and then we'll break down all the videos. Yeah, she's going after Anna Paulina Luna. She's going after MTG. She's going after Elon again in a couple clips. Just going on wild rants about helping her community. Has anyone benefited? I don't know if I have any Houston viewers. I don't know if I have anyone that votes Democrat in my audience. I hope so. I mean, I invite Democrats to watch the show. I enjoy engaging with them in the chat. We are a live show, by the way. Drop your thoughts in the comments below as we're going along here. Usually when I get a Democrat or a troll there, they're just like, you support Donald Trump. You might as well grow out a mustache and look like the guy from the 1930s. And it's like, well, that's not really an argument, but thank you for watching, I guess. Has anyone ever improved their lives voting for these clowns? I have wondered for decades. Maxine Waters, for example, represents the LA area. She's been in Congress for like 30 years, running on the same tired stuff that Jasmine Crockett is just kind of the new generation representing. I represent you, the black community in America. Vote for me, vote Democrat, and your lives will get better. And I'm looking around. I'm trying to be honest about this, and I say, I don't think anyone's lives have been made better by Democrat policies. I know that the open borders that these people advocate for depresses wages in the black community because now you're competing for like entry-level jobs. That's not good for your people. You're advocating for more government money in the system, government spending money that we don't have, printing money. All that inflation just makes you poor. Inflation is one of the most insidious taxes we have. We don't have to have inflation, by the way. We could go to a gold standard. We could spend the money that is brought in and just spend it back out. You don't have to print money that way. That would certainly help the community, but she's all about big government programs, big government spending. And so, yes, making her communities poor because their dollar is less valuable all the time. I mean, pick any Democrat policy. How many abortions have taken place since the 1970s? I think I saw a stat like 1 million black babies got murdered. That is certainly not advocating for your community. Black lives matter, but only when there's a questionable kind of gray area. When a police officer interacts with a black man, then Black Lives Matter because it can rile up crowds, you can create narratives. But when it comes to innocent black babies, kids shot in drive-by shootings because they don't want to punish criminals, they want the gangs to run the inner city, none of those lives matter here. So it is all a sham, it is all a lie. But folks, again, as promised, the deep dive into Jasmine Crockett, who I find to be one of the most despicable human beings in Washington, D.C., and that's saying something because I think they're all despicable. Yes, even the frumpy middle-aged woman who just goes to work every day, pushes a few papers around on her desk and says, I'm fighting the good fight. I'm helping Washington, D.C.'s government hum along. They need to be fired. They're pretty awful as well. They might be nice people, but they don't need a job in the government. But man, Jasmine Crockett competing against AOC, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and yes, I'm calling her more disgusting because she says it out loud. I think deep down, like your Chuck Schumers in Congress, they know better They are in it for power and money, so they will say whatever they need to get reelected, to retain power. I think people like Jasmine Crockett, though, and this is the scary thing, and this is what the new Democrat Party represents, these people actually believe it. If they had a chance to work from Malema in South Africa and they're saying kill all the Boers, Jasmine Crockett would be saying that too. I think we're just a couple years away from Jasmine Crockett adopting the genocidal thinking that we see taking place in South Africa right now. I got Kagan Girl in the chat today. Good morning, K Girl. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Yes, Jasmine Crockett is out of control. The entire Democrat Party is out of control. They are giving her airtime. Why is it that the Democrat Party wants to promote AOC and Jasmine Crockett as the new face? These people are disgusting. Not only do Democrats have bad ideas, they're never implemented to success. Anything a Democrat tries makes your life worse, makes this country worse. But then you add on the fact that she actually does hate you. Jasmine Crockett absolutely hates you. Just some vile stuff on display here. She loves political violence when it benefits her cause. I mean, Donald Trump can go say peacefully protest, let your voices be heard at the Capitol. That's inciting violence. But then Jasmine Crockett can go and say, I want Elon Musk to be hurt. I want Ted Cruz to get hit on the head. I want all these MAGA folks locked up because they're a bigger domestic terror threat than violent illegal criminals that were released from prisons in Venezuela. Absolutely wild stuff here. So Kagan Girl, thanks for hopping on the chat here. Thanks for watching the show this morning. Folks, let's dive into it here. This is the clip making all the attention right now. This is Jasmine Crockett. I apologize. I don't know the specific network or podcast this got aired on. Kind of irrelevant to the point we're making here. Listen to Jasmine Crockett advocate violence against political opponents. And no, not like that nebulous idea of go after your opponents. We need to fight them, as politicians always say. And it's okay to say that if you're a Democrat. We need to fight back. We need to resist. But if you say that as a Trump supporter in the Biden regime, you get thrown in prison because now you're inciting political violence. But here is Jasmine Crockett saying it out loud. She's not mincing her words. She's not misspeaking. She's just saying we need to hurt people that don't align with us politically.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head. I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
Okay, so again, very explicit in her call for violence against Ted Cruz. She was referencing Colin Allred, the Democrat senator candidate that lost to Ted Cruz in the election. I don't know why Texas is making these elections so close. Like, yes, Beto lost in the governor run, Colin lost in the Senate run. Texas, though, is always one of those weird things. You're like, Texas is representative of America. They love their guns. They love the Constitution. And then these races are always like 55-45. You're like, whoa, Texas is a little too close to blue for my liking. Jasmine Crockett, though, saying you didn't hit hard enough. And I understand that she's speaking kind of rhetorically there. Punch harder, hit harder. And you can make the argument, like, we're going to attack him politically. We're going to dig up more dirt, as if there's more dirt to be dug up at this point. But at the same time, there's no getting around the fact that all of these analogies relate to violence. Knock him upside the head, punch him harder. I mean, this is, if you're a low IQ, brainwashed sheep that's making sure you got your latest COVID booster this year, you're listening to this and you're like, I heard punch, I heard knock, I heard head. Yes, I'm going to go do violence. And then when you add this clip to the context of her comments going after Elon Musk, you're like, hold on a second. This isn't a one-off. This isn't her getting taken out of context in a 24-second clip like they love to do with Donald Trump, fine people. No, this is just kind of how she operates now because, and again, this is where the Democrat Party is. They can't win on ideas. If Democrats had to compete in the open marketplace of ideas, they didn't have their corporate media puppets and allies and shills in the regime to spread the narratives and the hoaxes and the lies and gaslight you every day. You know, if we just had to open up the debate, open up the forum and say, here's what the America First movement stands for, here's what the Democrat Party stands for, I dare say it would be like 70-75% of Americans rejecting the Democrat Party outright because, okay, open borders, you can't defend. You can't explain why this is making my life better. Foreign wars overseas, you can't really defend this or explain why my life is better sending my tax dollars to a corrupt, perhaps the most corrupt regime, government in Europe and Ukraine. You can't really defend transing kids, grooming kids in the public school system, defending what teachers are doing to children, either spiritually or physically in a lot of cases. Turns out there's a lot of sickos in the government school system. So they can't do that. They have to resort to violence. Expect more of this. And then we'll talk about Tesla here in a second. But here's Jasmine saying, for my birthday, I just want to see Elon Musk get hurt.
I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
Elon to be taken down. And no, this is not rhetorical again. At some point, you just can't say they're using all these just turns of a phrase. They're just saying they want him taken down. In what way, Jasmine? Vote him out? Vote the Trump administration out? Vote out the America First movement? I don't think so anymore. I don't know if we can give them the benefit of the doubt, especially because to contextualize this video right here, we wanted to see Teslas burned, dealerships burned, cars keyed. These are acts of domestic terrorism designed to send a message to Elon Musk. What is the next step after burning a Musk-produced vehicle to just going after Musk himself? And they've made him the new big bad. This is not an accident, by the way. Donald Trump, the lies, the hoaxes, it went on for 10 years. It didn't stick. We voted for him anyways. I would vote for him again in a heartbeat. So it didn't work. People were just like, you know what? Kamala's awful. Biden's been awful. The media's lying to me. I'm voting for Donald Trump. So they had to find a new big bad, and they've honed in on Elon Musk this entire time. They spread these stupid lies about how he's co-president, or in the case of The View actually suggested Vance and Musk were conspiring to assassinate Donald Trump so that they could become, I don't know, the new co-presidents, or Vance could be president, or Musk could have a larger role. They never really spelled that out. They were just being insane on The View because that's what The View does. But after you light cars on fire, and that's not working, and after you make Elon Musk the big bad for 2 months now, over 2 months, because he's exposing the absolute rot in the government, and it blows my mind. I have to talk about this every single time I got a camera on. Who is mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for simply exposing corruption? You're a normal American, a normal human being. You go to work, you pay taxes against your will, by the way. I've never met a Democrat voter that writes a larger check to the IRS. So their entire argument is fraudulent. Yeah, I love big government and I want all these programs. I don't want to do it, though. Let someone else pay for that because I'll still feel like a good person. I voted for more government theft of other people, just not me. They're all frauds. If you're a Democrat and you want bigger government, write a bigger check. At least I'll know you're serious and you stand on some principles. Otherwise, you're just a fraud. Let the rich pay their fair share, even though they'll never tell you what is a fair share. What should other people pay? How much of their money should they turn over to the government so that someone else can benefit off of their labor? They'll never spell that out. It's wild, folks. It's absolutely wild. Kagan Girl saying there has to be accountability. Yeah, there does have to be accountability at some point, Kagan Girl. Like, me talking about this, hosted out of Rumble Studio, by the way. Folks, thanks for tuning into Rumble. I got to say, too, we're not on Facebook today. I don't know how Facebook feels about Jasmine Crockett. I certainly think they would like her more than what I have to say about her. But there needs to be accountability. Removing her from a committee seems like the low-hanging fruit. That's not a whole lot of accountability. She's still serving in Congress. She's still profiting off of her time in Congress. She's still enriching herself. She's still not helping her community that voted for her, even though they're like, well, I'm black and she's black and that's good enough for me. I just need representation. Instead of looking on the ground like, my community is falling apart. There's violence everywhere. There's no jobs. My dollar is getting worthless. I'm seeing these illegals come into the country that she supports, and they're depressing my wages in the market. But yes, accountability. At some point, we need to kick people out. If you're going to impeach Donald Trump over inciting violence, the bar has been set. And I'm kind of tired. I'm not kind of tired. I'm over it. We're not going to play by two different sets of rules here. If the left can just say, I'm impeaching you, I'm going to lie about you, I'm going to do all this to you, we can't come in anymore and say, you know what, if we try to take the high ground, if we try to find unity, if we try to relate our love of country and order and principles and the Constitution, maybe they'll stop what they're doing. But the reality is these communists won't stop. These race Marxists like Jasmine Crockett is, they don't care how nice you are to them. And in fact, the nicer you are to them, the more they perceive weakness. They're like, they're not going to do anything to me, then I will just keep doing all this nonsense because here I am calling for violence. And here you have these spineless America First people thinking that they're acting on principles and Christian morals, saying, no, it wouldn't be nice to go after Jasmine Crockett. That's a little too much. What she said, we're going to condemn with other strong words, but we're not going to act on it at all. I'm over it. Folks, if they set the rules, then those are the rules. If they're going to impeach Donald Trump and try to prevent him from running for office again because he, quote, incited an insurrection, unquote, then Jasmine Crockett can be held to the same standard. And we're like, This is what you did. You set the rules. We are playing by the rules. We are applying those rules to you. I want to see Jasmine Crockett removed from committees, and then I want to see her get thrown out of the House. Remember, George Santos got kicked out of the House because he told a few lies, and before any criminal proceedings took place about other allegations, no criminal trial, no actual verdict, no anything, rumors. George Santos was kicked out of the slim Republican majority-led House over rumors and allegations. And yeah, did he do some shady stuff? Sure. Do they all do shady stuff? Absolutely. And then you apply the Jasmine Crockett principle. Okay, she's calling for violence against her political opponents. At some point, enough is enough. You set the rules. I'm applying the rules to you. Jasmine Crockett can go. The entire squad can go. Something about the squad, man. Deport Elon, kick Jasmine out of Congress. Ayanna Pressley is just angry and bitter all the time. I would be fine with her leaving too. People vote for this. I'm always reminded to. People are voting for this. You're a Democrat. Just understand. You're some normie, and in Minnesota, it's mostly white. You live in the suburbs. You guys have a good middle-class income. You coach your kids' softball game. You're an otherwise good person. I enjoy hanging out with you. Our kids get along well. We have good talks. We go way back to school and college, and we can talk and laugh and have a good time. But then you vote Democrat, and just understand, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, the squad, all these lunatics in Congress are the new face of the Democrat Party. So when you vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, just understand they are going to be run by these clowns over here. They want to see America burn. They are accelerating the demise of America. You might be a great person, but then you vote for this. You are essentially saying, I want Jasmine Crockett to be the face of the Democrat Party, and that's better than Donald Trump and the America First movement somehow. It defies all logic here. I want to see Musk taken down. How else would you interpret that, folks? Let me know in the comments below. Is she just speaking rhetorically? Is it just a coincidence that she says attack Ted Cruz, attack Elon Musk, and then we got to get to some other clips too here, where it's just insane. It is literally insane at this point. And again, maybe not calling for violence, but the ideas that they espouse. So the rest of the clips I have for you today is just who they are and the ideas that they hold here. Do you want to live in America governed by DEI? Do people deserve something because of their skin color or their sex? Should we have slave labor? She's advocating for illegals to come into this country so that we, I guess Americans, don't have to pick crops or pick your blueberries and have your smoothies. She wants to live in her little comfortable bubble. She thinks we should all live in a comfortable bubble and have slave labor. But in no particular order here now, folks, we are going to run down the list here. This is just the best of the best. Jasmine Crockett. Again, I promised a deep dive on her. She's just a vile human being. Everything she believes is wrong, but then she's motivated by something worse, and that's an outright hatred of you in this country and a little bit of racism as well. Yep, Kagan girl, double standards getting old. Democrats get to play by no rules, and then we're holding ourselves to rules. I'm over it. I don't want to play by two standards. If the Dems set the standard, then that's the standard. Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to run down the list top to bottom. This is how the videos are in my library today. Actually, this is an Elon clip, so this will be a good segue. Asked how she feels about Elon. If you have kids listening, cover their ears, mute the TV. There is some language here in the short clip.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
That's it.
All right, so again, words of wisdom here. This is the, yes, are there times when I swear? Absolutely. I think there are times that are appropriate to swear if you need to emphasize something. But let me get this straight here. This is why she's mad at Elon Musk, and this is why Democrats are wrong about everything. She is mad at Elon Musk because he is exposing corruption. That is it. They have their narratives around co-president. He wasn't elected. At the end of the day, they are outright terrified that Elon Musk is exposing the corruption. And in many cases, we're seeing the Trump administration just cut off the spigot altogether. That's what they're mad about. They want you to be mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for exposing corruption. Like, make that make sense. F off Elon Musk because you are rooting out billions, if not trillions of dollars in waste in the Department of Defense. Pete Hegseth just rolled out. He said $800 million we found that don't need to be spent. Social Security, Elon Musk has talked about that. We could save $500 million, $800 billion because people that are dead or don't deserve these payments are getting it. Turns out USAID was just propping up the Democrat Party, get out the vote, reimburse people for voting Democrat, getting all these disgusting narratives mainstreamed. That's what she's mad about. She's mad about all that corruption getting exposed and getting eliminated. If you're a Democrat voter, again, I got to ask, why are you mad? I understand why Jasmine's mad. She hates this country. She loves the grift and the corruption. She loves enriching herself. She loves the power that she gets out of it. You as a normal Democrat voter, though, Let me know in the comments below, why are you mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk for exposing corruption? Are you saying you like the corruption? Because that's the only conclusion I can reach, which is sad. All right, here's a fun little interaction with Jasmine Crockett and Anna Paulina Luna. She is an America First representative from Florida. Jasmine just loses her mind. And again, this is also the point. Talked earlier about how they can only resort to political violence, domestic terrorism, acts of terrorism, because their ideas can't win. Their ideas don't compete in the marketplace because they're bad ideas. They're evil ideas. So they can't win on talking, on debating, on changing minds. They resort to just absolute meltdowns and shouting matches. Take a look at this.
And on what
Chairman, motion to strike those words.
What you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just.
You just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at, calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized. Ms.
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your yelling.
You don't want
Calm
me
down.
To be,
Can you please calm
don't
down?
tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr.
Order.
All right,
Sorry.
Chair,
I don't know why
okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes
Not cute.
Ms. Green for 4 minutes and 21 seconds. 4 minutes. Let Ms. Green talk, and then I'll recognize.
But I move to strike her words for a second time based on her second set of personal remarks attacking another member.
Who? Chairman Comer.
Because you all cannot
I have an
seem
amendment at
to
the desk,
apply
and this
the
sideshow
rules of the
needs to
committee.
stop.
We have to do this every time.
Okay, I'm recognizing.
All right, folks, enough of that already. That goes on for another minute if you're interested. I got that from Forbes. I think we have that up on our own Rumble channel here. You can go to our Facebook pages. I popped that video up there. Number one, I guess, how many items do we need to break down here? This is who you're sending to Congress. Whenever I see clips like this, yes, it just makes me lament the fact that someone voted for these clowns. But then when you ever have someone say, we need more government, I trust the government to be efficient. We've got the most intelligent, the wisest, the best people serving our country. Show them clips like this of Jasmine Crockett just acting like a child, screaming. Nothing she says makes sense to begin with, but then she's so arrogant that she loves her ignorance and just goes off of that. Yeah, she's very confident and arrogant. She's wrong about everything, which is typical of Dems. This is what government is, folks. When you're voting for more government, you are voting for these clowns. Is Jasmine Crockett qualified to make decisions that affect your life? Do you want the Jasmine Crockett's of the world voting on issues, introducing legislation, creating these narratives? Like, is your life better? Even if I didn't vote for her, I would never vote for her. I can't believe anyone votes for her. But even if you did vote for her, you're looking at this and you're like, yes, that woman is standing up for me. She is doing great things. Great policies are coming out of the swamp. No, this is what government is. How does anyone want more of this when they vote for Democrats? Who is advocating for more government and sincerely doing so, thinking like, yes, I'm sending Jasmine Crockett to Washington, D.C. That'll make America better. It is just wild. They are children. They are literally children. Been saying this as well. You might be looking at a grown-up body. She might be chronologically an adult. She might have the adult appearance. Make no mistake. In her head, she is a child. She has suffered from arrested development. You can't be a Democrat nowadays and be anything but a child in your head. You believe in this, I guess at best, a utopian version of reality, like, oh, everyone's a good person. They just need the right support systems in place. No, people only commit acts of violence because trauma in their childhood. Completely insane. No, there are awful people in this world, people committed to just harming others for no other reason than they get off on it. No, our government's not efficient, folks. Stop voting for more of this. And again, I'll ask the question, if you're a Democrat and you vote for these people, has anything ever gotten better in your life because of it? I always ask the question, like, yeah, we admit that Joe Biden hated half this country. He threw Trump supporters in jail for 4 years. And I say, too, he could have pardoned the J6ers once Donald Trump won. He could have let them go home for Christmas because he knew Trump was going to do it. It was an open secret, but he had so much hate in his heart. He let those dudes rot in prison for 4 more months, miss Christmas, suffer in those awful conditions a little bit more. Trump comes in, lets him out. Biden knew it was going to happen all along, did it anyways because he hates you. But again, I go a step further and I say, no, Joe Biden didn't hate half this country. Joe Biden hated all of this country, because even if you voted for Joe Biden, or if you're like the 20 million unaccounted votes that just magically appeared, whatever number of Americans actually voted for Joe Biden, he hated you too. How did your life get better under 4 years of Democrat rule? I can't think of an example. Let me know in the chat below if you're a Democrat and you're like, yes, my life was made better by X. Give me a specific example how your life got better under Joe Biden. All right, this clip is an oldie and a goodie here. Remember when Venezuelan gangs, armed gangs, were taking over entire apartment buildings in Colorado? And of course, you had the Democrats and the media and even the mayor of Denver at the time saying, this is fake news. We're not losing apartment buildings to Venezuelan gang members. And yeah, it was happening. But then the new spin was this. First, they deny. The playbook is always the same. Deny it's happening, then say it's a good thing that it's happening. It's just a little bit transitory inflation. And then, no, here's why inflation is a good thing. Here is Jasmine Crockett saying, I'm going to take this playbook in a completely different direction. I don't care if illegals are taking over apartment buildings. You know why? Because MAGA. MAGA is the biggest domestic terrorist that in this country. Joe Biden said it a lot of times. Here's Jasmine saying it. Take a look at this one.
It's the MAGA gang. It is the white supremacists that have decided to descend upon places such as Springfield, Ohio. So I agree with him. I just disagree with who the problems are. The problems are him and his minions.
So to be clear, the problem is it's not illegal gangs, violent illegal gangs in Colorado. It's not 20,000 Haitians eating all of your pets and destroying the demography of your community, destroying the town with violence and just things that we don't need to bring in. Why do we need 20,000 Haitians in a town of 60,000 rural white Americans? We don't. But the problem is Trump and his minions. And by minions, she means you and me, good people, moral people, righteous people, just people. They just want a country to live in that doesn't have hatred everywhere, lies promulgated every day. You're the problem. Don't you understand? Gangs can take over apartment buildings. Haitians can be flown in under their temporary protected status, so they're not illegal. They can change the landscape of your community forever, for the worse, by the way. Let me know if you vote Democrat in Springfield, Ohio, and you tell me how your life is better because diversity is our strength. And you've been introduced to a different way of living, and it's so powerful because you should hate who you are because you're white. You should hate the history of your country because it's white supremacist. It's just asinine, folks. This is the messaging, though, and it has been going on for so long, and it's just so constant. I always blame like the white middle-aged woman, like the picturesque HR lady, people that are miserable because they grew up with feminism. They've been surrounded by feminism their whole life. They thought if they just go work some corporate slog job, they would find fulfillment and meaning and purpose in their life. And of course, that didn't happen. You forewent a family, a supportive, loving husband, adoring kids, and you chose to work in a cubicle and you thought that would give you purpose. So that is kind of this white, middle-aged female, I don't know what you want to call it, phenomenon right now. They hate themselves for being white. They hate the country that they live in. They think it's a good thing that their communities are taken over by violent illegals, different cultures, different people. Everybody is better than them. Every culture is worth celebrating. Every race is spectacular, except their own. Every race is great, except white. Every culture is great, except America's. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. Jasmine Crockett putting that on full display. And folks, I'm just kind of going clip by clip here. Half an hour in, I still have, we got a lot of clips to get through here, folks. This is a yikes moment. I titled the video Yikes. I didn't know how else to describe it. Again, someone sat down, they had a meeting, they planned it, they scripted it, they filmed it, they edited it, they published it. Jasmine Crockett, I don't know, I take it back. I know who she's appealing to. You will understand who she's appealing to as well as soon as you see the video. This should not resonate with anybody. I could do a separate episode on my thoughts on like the rap industry. But again, this is Jasmine Crockett in a nutshell, I think. Let's take a look.
Oh, no. It's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on the floor. You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it? Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. They get on it like that. Hey, I'm tripping, I'm sliding, I'm riding through the back like buck. Must have on a beat, bro, deep boat, and we rap. He a freak, though, man down, call like Amber Lambs. Tell him breathe, let them boys to the cross, they walk around like G's. What's up with these?
I don't know, I gotta be careful with what I say on that video. Like, everything about that is just wrong. It is so degrading, it is so low IQ. Again, rap in general, the idea that this is appealing to anybody, like, oh, I really enjoy the beats, or did you catch those lyrics? They were so intelligent. So The whole jive of this is just off. But again, she produced this. And she's, again, if you listen to the words, I think when she said 48, she was representing the 48% of the country that somehow inexplicably voted for Kamala Harris. We'll have her thoughts coming up next year about how Kamala deserved to win because she was a black woman, and she breaks down in fake tears. But just yikes. This is not what America wants. This is not how I want America to look. This is a worthless subculture right here. I don't know how else to say it. Nothing good comes from that culture. I just need to say that. Nothing good. Folks, I have nothing else to say about that clip there. Again, someone thought that was a good idea to produce. I guess that plays well in her Houston area district, her nice little gerrymandered district. Like, how can we get all the black people in Houston to vote for Jasmine Crockett? I know. Let's just create these made-up lines. But again, she's like, the country is divided. And it's like, yeah, no wonder the country is divided because you do this. You talk about this. You say you hate MAGA, that we're the biggest domestic terror threat. Yeah, we are divided because of your narratives. White supremacy, America's history. We wouldn't be divided if you actually enjoyed this country and liked the people that lived in it. But let's get to her thoughts on Kamala Harris. This was shortly after the election, I believe. Crying for Kamala, we just needed a new direction. Didn't you know that we just needed a black woman as president? Because that means everything. Who cares what Kamala thinks or how she feels, if she's able to think, that is, what she stands for, what vision she has for this country. Folks, it's good enough that she was a black woman. Don't you get it? We just needed a black woman. Men have had their turn. What else? Can we get any other pablum in there? Men have had their turn. Yeah, so it's women's turn. I don't know what you're going to do, Kamala Harris, but let's take a listen to Jasmine.
Day that the person that should have been president had to deliver her concession speech, I honestly didn't know how I was going to get out of bed. When I tell y'all, I'm getting emotional, that I traveled this country because I knew it was going to be bad. I didn't know it was going to be this fucking bad shit, but I knew. And I knew that the obstacles were going to be even greater because not only was it a woman, but it was a woman of color. But man, if you saw...
I honestly wish she wouldn't have gotten out of bed. How great would that be? Oh, I'm so dejected and sad. I'm just not going to get out of bed anymore. Great. Stay there, please. Go back to Houston. Stay in your bed. Don't go back to Washington, D.C. Let someone better represent America. I'm all for it. Yeah, I wish she would have stayed in bed, but how pathetic. Again, this is the Democrat Party. I'm trying to make as many connections as possible to say Jasmine Crockett does everything wrong with Dems. This is part of it too. The mindset that life is so hard. Was I displeased that Joe Biden was president for 4 years? Yeah, that would be an understatement. Did I say I can't get out of bed anymore because Biden's president? Absolutely not. That's when MAGA doubled down and said, we are taking this country back. We are going to win on ideas. Donald Trump ran for president, ran on closing the border, ran on what Americans wanted, and he won the election. Can you imagine Donald Trump ever saying, well, that business deal fell down, or they did another lawfare against me, or they're throwing me in Rikers because of some lawsuit that Letitia James brought unfairly, or they raided Melania's underwear drawer. Can you imagine Donald Trump saying, hard to get out of bed that day? Like, my God, the weakness that Democrats project, and not just project in this case, but the weakness of the mind that Democrats just hold. Life is so hard. Everything's a struggle. I'm so stressed out. Oh, I just can't take it anymore. Fascism is right around the corner. Yes, it is if Democrats take over. It is just a party of mental weakness. I couldn't get out of bed, y'all. I'm getting emotional thinking about Kamala Harris losing. Now, I was not happy. I got to say this again. Nobody was happy when Joe Biden won, I'm using air quotes if you're on Spotify, won the 2020 election. We didn't give up. We didn't quit. We didn't cry. We got pissed off and we said, we're going to make this country better again. We're going to be motivated by some feelings here, motivated to do better. Again, they don't have that. Democrats don't have that. I think that's part of what makes you a Democrat is how you overcome obstacles. You just cry. Everything has to tie back to you being oppressed. It's not your fault. It's the system's fault. Some externality is preventing you from accomplishing something. It's all weakness. It's all mental weakness. But again, at the end of the clip here, if I haven't said it already, I'm going to. The overt racism on display. Jasmine Crockett is just a racist. She hates white people. She thinks she's better. She thinks Kamala Harris was better on account of simply being black. Now, I don't know about you. I love pointing this out when people are like, yeah, it's time for a black woman or time for a black guy, or you're a racist because you support Donald Trump for some reason. And this is not to say, like, I'm not making the, like, I have a black friend defense claim. But what you can say is like, okay, well, Ben Carson works in the Trump administration. My wife listens to Candace Owens. Candace is controversial, but she makes good points. I mean, she's black, so this is proving my point. I don't need to really dig into the Candace history. Donald Trump's Scott Turner, we've done some videos on him. I've written some articles about him on the Christian Tribune. Led Trump's very first cabinet meeting in prayer. He went down to Los Angeles, where everyone was affected by the Democrat-created wildfires down there, and prayed for the people in the shelter. I don't want to list off everyone that's black in the Trump administration, but at a certain point, you're like, do you think Donald Trump had a problem with Scott Turner, a black man, leading his cabinet in prayer? Do you think Donald Trump has a problem with Ben Carson when he was his HUD secretary or on the campaign trail with him? Larry Elder should have been governor of California. Like, it's so stupid nowadays to be like, you hate black people. And honestly, you know the Democrats are all fraudulent because listen to them when you bring up a black conservative. They say that's not a real black person. They say that they're just pretending to be white, or they're trying to win the approval of the white man. Like, black leftists like Jasmine Crockett absolutely hate free-thinking black people. They are the most racist towards their own kind, if that's possible. And at the end of the day, what that proves is it's not about skin color. If it were only about skin color, they pretend that DEI, black woman in office, black person here, they're spectacular, they need a chance. If it were truly about skin color, then they wouldn't disparage black conservatives. They would say that's a black person speaking up and we need to listen to them. But they don't. They say, I hate their ideas, I disagree with their worldview, so I'm going to demean them and dehumanize them and call them awful names and awful terms, call them Uncle Tom. At the end of the day, these people care about one thing, and that's the ideology that they espouse and profess. That is it. They do not care about skin color. Skin color is a vehicle for their communism. If they really believed that skin color were the be-all, end-all, they wouldn't disparage black conservatives. They disparage black conservatives, though, because of the ideas that those individuals hold. I don't care about your skin color. I care about your ideas and your values and how you treat other people. Dennis Prager, still recovering from his fall a couple months ago now. When I was a child, I remember being what was I, like 15 years old, I think it was. I was listening to Prager do his radio show in the 90s, driving down to the golf course with Dad. We always had Prager and Rush on. That every child should have that experience. You should all be listening to Rush Limbaugh as a child. Someone needs to just go back and get all his audio files, and you can just listen to Rush over and over again because it has aged perfectly. Rush was spot on then, perfectly saw what was coming. But Prager made the argument, and I'll never forget this. He's like, just ask a leftist, would you rather have a Supreme Court with 9 black conservatives, and you can make them dwarves, lesbians, trannies, doesn't matter. Whatever descriptor you use, gay, trans, dwarf, disabled, quadriplegic, but they were conservative, anything but white, or would you rather have a Supreme Court of 9 white men that were Democrat appointees? For any of us in MAGA, we're like, are they going to uphold the Constitution? Fine, I don't care. Like, let them be black, let them be Hispanic, let them be trans. Like, are you going to uphold the Constitution? You're going to have conservative rulings? Great, sign me up. But if you ask the leftist that question, and this is the point Prager made, they don't know how to answer that. Because they're told on one hand, white is bad, and then they're told that trans and gay and other and oppressed and historically marginalized, whatever other nonsense buzzwords they use, that's a good thing. But then they struggle because, hold on a second, all of those immutable characteristics, as it were, they're conservative. And these immutable characteristics that I'm told to hate and are evil because they're white, they have my worldview. They share my values. They don't know how to answer that question. Honestly, pose that question to somebody you know. It is the perfect example. Or you could, replace Supreme Court with president. Would you rather have a black conservative president? Let's imagine a black America First president or some version of Joe Biden again. At the end of the day, they're going to vote for the Joe Biden version, which completely destroys their entire argument. Let me know in the comments below if you think I'm onto something or you think I'm wrong, I personally think I am 100% correct. If we ran in 2028, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like a minority America for, let's say, I don't know, Anna Paulina Luna. We did a clip on her. What if she runs for president? You got a Hispanic woman, so that checks boxes that the left loves, but then she's America first. And then you could run a Gavin Newsom, a white man. You know every Democrat would vote for Gavin Newsom, even though white men bad, straight white men at that, and then Hispanic female good, checking the right boxes, woman of color, as Jasmine Crockett said there. It's all a fraud. Folks, it is all a fraud. My Democrat family members and friends listening to the podcast, I got a few that tune in. My mother-in-law listens to the show sometimes. Shout out to my mother-in-law there. Thanks for watching Kiddos this weekend. She listens to my show. I think I'm asking decent questions. Again, I'm not mean about it. I invite these conversations. I wish my family and friends would have political conversations with me. They don't, but if you listen to the podcast, let me know your thoughts on that, friends. All right, we got to get to, okay, we did the Elon violence. I'm just going to clear out the library really fast. Oh, speaking of white privilege, here's Jasmine. She's gesticulating. She's spouting nonsense again on white privilege. Here we go.
I just want to run it back, though, to the very beginning, because this is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about white privilege. It was a spit in the face, at least of mine as a black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker and what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America.
All right, so she just hates having too many white people. I don't know. Representation for me seems like just uphold the Constitution. I don't know about you folks. But yes, isn't it great? Isn't it great that the Democrat Party has more diverse, racially diverse? They have a man pretending to be a woman in Congress. McBride, I don't know his first name. He goes by Sarah. I always forget his first male name, his Christian given name. So they had great. You have a trans. You've got your black woman from Houston. Look, Democrats represent America. Isn't this great? But you know what you don't represent and why you lose in the elections and why Donald Trump's approval rating is the highest we've ever had at this time and why J.D. Vance will win the 2028 election? Because no matter how diverse you are with these immutable characteristics, you don't represent Americans' values. That's a big difference. We care about values. Don't groom our kids in the government school system. Don't put kids on drugs that chemically castrate them or chop off their body parts when they're minors. Don't sexually abuse kids that way. Don't let in tens of millions of illegals that are only coming here to get your tax dollars. And then Democrats' ultimate hope, of course, is that they would become naturalized and then vote for more Democrats. But why are we introducing crime, wage depression? Why are we introducing a demographic change unnecessarily? It's okay to be America. America was founded by Europeans of Christian ancestry. We can stay that way. Doesn't mean we exclude everybody else. Doesn't mean you're not welcome to participate in this experiment. But that's who America is, and that's okay. I don't know, folks. All right. Speaking of racism, though, imagine for a second a white Republican went on some of these like generic rants against the stereotypes of black women, for example. There would be outrage. But for Jasmine Crockett, it has become so normalized in public discourse. She can hurl these insults at MTG, and barely anyone noticed outside of our MAGA community. Take a look at this.
Understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold
a
on.
part
I'm
of it.
trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman, motion to strike those
I had no idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just.
You just.
All right, so don't you love that? Again, this is junior high. I taught middle school for 5 years. I know how this works. We're all in middle school. We all know how it works. She's pretending, she's getting the insult across by pretending to ask a question. Can I use this insult? Well, I'm just trying to figure out what we're allowed to say. Like, no, you know what you're allowed to say. Calling MTG like badly built, butch body, beach blonde, like, no, what the heck? Again, this is not just a personal attack on a Republican. This is a racist attack on a white person because Jasmine Crockett hates us. I don't know what else to say. Not every black person hates white people. Jasmine Crockett hates white people. And speaking of hating white people, she's been promoting the reparations argument. For some reason, I'll use myself as an example. I have never owned slaves. Even if I had ancestry that did own slaves, again, I didn't own slaves. In the last, what are we at here? 160 years, America went from a minority slave owning population, like what, 3% of whites owned slaves in the South to begin with. Blacks fought for the Confederacy because way of life. Blacks owned slaves, Indians owned slaves, the entire world owned slaves. America abolished slavery. Can we just set the record straight before I play the clip on reparations? America abolished slavery worldwide with the UK, and the UK sent their navy to Africa to prevent any more boats coming across, no more slave ships. America abolished slavery. How about we celebrate that? Instead of saying 160 years later, my name's Jasmine Crockett, I have black skin, and for that reason I hate this country, and because something bad happened 160 years ago, I'm going to blame all of my failures or my community's failures on that. I'm going to ignore that people have free will. I'm going to ignore all these strides American society has made. I'm just going to keep bringing up slavery. And what's the limiting principle? At what point could you say, all right, I won't use slavery anymore? Now it's been 5,000 years. America had slavery 5,000 years ago. But because of that, because of generational trauma, because we've always been playing behind, here we have this stupid video of me running around a track and you as the white person get to run first in the race. And I got to wait another 5 seconds and I'm going to run the race and I'll never catch up with you because 5,000 years ago we had slavery. It just doesn't work. Honestly, just say thank you, America. America, thank you for abolishing slavery. Slavery is evil. It is immoral. But then at the same time, they're always like, we love democracy. We love democracy so much. Well, guess what? Back when there was slavery in America, they had democracy and people voted for it. People voted for that system. So which one is it? Do you like democracy in the will of the voter, or do you not like democracy in the will of the voter? They'll never answer that question either because, again, their heads will explode. I think you could watch them bleed out of their ears as they suffer an aneurysm or a stroke. But she is advocating for reparations. Actually, in this case, she's advocating for no taxes on blacks. Like, yes, you heard that correctly. She's going to advocate for the elimination of taxes on blacks because they're black. Because we had slavery at one point, and it's not good enough that we abolished slavery. Not good enough that we amended laws, introduced, I'm going to argue, useless, if not worse than useless, legislation like the Civil Rights Act, Lyndon Baines Johnson's Great Society, which has put the black community in perpetual reliance on the government, gutted the nuclear family, because why wouldn't you marry the government as a woman? You collect more money, the more baby daddies you have. Man, I mean, if you just want to sleep around with women and not have any moral or fiduciary responsibility, as Larry Elder likes to say, yeah, this is a great deal. You mean I can do drugs all day, sleep around, not be on the hook for any of this? You're watching countless communities fall apart. And it's safe to say now that, yes, there is generational trauma that has been created by Democrat intervention in the black community. You didn't see this out-of-wedlock birth rate prior to the Civil Rights Act. You didn't see the crime exploding. Thomas Sowell talks about growing up in Harlem. No crime. Well-dressed people, well-spoken people, hardworking people. And then all of a sudden you get the 1960s with Democrat takeover of basically the black family and black community. And what do you have to show for it? Is it slavery's fault or is it Democrat intervention's fault? But then here we go. 95% of you will still vote for Democrats, even though Democrats are the reason you live in perpetual squalor and crime. But here it is. Let's listen to Jasmine Crockett talk about no taxes for blacks because black.
Just this past week, I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually a celebrity. And I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is black folk not have to pay taxes for a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket. But at the same time, it may not be as objectionable to some people about actually giving out dollars. But obviously then you start dealing with the different tax brackets and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that, you know, we argue the reparations make sense, because so many black folk, not only do you owe for the labor that was stolen and killed and all the other things, right? But the fact is, like, we end up being so far behind, right? And so it's like, how do you bring forth people? Exactly. And so it's like, if you do the no tax thing for people that.
All right, just to be clear, Jasmine Crockett's argument for no taxes hinged on the fact that people would have more money in their pocket. Let that sink in. Jasmine Crockett admits out loud that if the government doesn't tax us so much, we get to keep more of our money and we are better off. That is the crux of her argument. I said I was going to be nice. Now I'm kind of fired up here because it's so stupid. you vote Democrat, you're like, yeah, it's good that we have taxation. The Democrats are out there every day shrieking, we need more taxation. And then Jasmine Crockett quietly says, it slips off the tongue. You know what? If blacks didn't get taxed, they would have more of their own money. And that would free them up to be more independent, less reliant on the government? Is that what you're saying? Because that sounds an awful lot like my proposals. But I'll take it a step further. Yes, Jasmine Crockett, I will meet you there in the middle. I can't believe I'm saying this. No taxes on blacks. But we're going to get rid of taxes on everybody. We can fund the government through tariffs. We can fund the government through sales tax as needed. We can eliminate the IRS. I will agree with you on that. But Jasmine Crockett, this is absolutely astounding. Democrats are admitting that it helps you out when you have more of your own money. God, who knew? Who knew? But again, the whole reparations argument, folks, let me get this straight. You're the child of Oprah or Denzel or an NBA player. You grow up with millions, if not billions of dollars in your household, and you're telling me that you need a check from the federal government, money that is stolen, by the way, from predominantly white Americans. I don't know what the breakdown is. Whites pay, 70% of income taxes, the federal government? I'd have to look up that number here. I know we're 65% of the population. It might even be higher. Actually, we're going to Google. I'll do the next video. I'll Google that figure here so we can get it. But some poor white kid, everyone uses West Virginia. I mean, West Virginia just gets shat on all the time. But let's say you got some coal miner son out there, gutted town because we sent manufacturing overseas, plug for tariffs. But yeah, blacks deserve reparations without any sort of qualifier, nope, you're black, slavery. You might have come here last year from Ghana, but you're black, and blacks were enslaved, so that's good enough. Who cares if you're worth billions of dollars, Oprah? You're going to get reparations from white people that make $10,000 per year and are on disability. Yeah, Francis hopping in the chat. Good morning, Francis. Thanks for watching. An economic genius. Isn't it genius? They just figured out that if they don't tax you, you have more money available to yourself, and it's your money to begin with. Absolutely astounding stuff there. Thanks for watching, Francis. Thanks for commenting here. Good to see you in the chat this morning. Gosh, folks, it's all so stupid. At some point, I know I've been talking for 52 minutes, pretty measured today. I was talking on Monday. I was pretty riled up. If you go back and watch our Friday show, Freedom from the Press, that I do with my business partner, Jason Robertson, I was really fired up on DEI stuff. So I feel like I'm a little more measured today, trying to be reasonable. But then you play that clip, and this is after almost an hour of listening to Jasmine spew absolute hatred and nonsense. And so she does understand. Do they actually? They're just lying to you. At the end of the day, Democrats are always just lying to you. I understand that. But she says they would get more of their own money in their pocket, and it would liberate them. And it's just yeah, that's why we don't want taxes. This is not a hard concept here. It's all a fraud. It is all a fraud. But again, the whole reparations argument is a fraud. Imagine, as a government, you're advocating for no taxes for a racial group. They hate you. They absolutely hate you. This is why Democrats can't win, by the way, because this would happen. I guarantee this policy would happen if Kamala Harris wins, if Dems get the Senate and the House. They would be like, congratulations, black folks. You no longer pay taxes. And oh, by the way, here's $25,000 for a new home, black community, if Kamala Harris wins. What do you mean, white family, you're struggling to find a home or afford a home or maintain your mortgage? Doesn't matter. You're black. You get a down payment for a house because slavery. It is all so stupid. All right, we're running out of clips. I got a few more. Here, I'm going to segue over to illegals. Here's Jasmine Crockett, again, advocating for illegals, and the reasons are simply astounding. Take a listen.
How many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on them? Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food. Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? So the reality is that so long as we live in a capitalist society, there's always going to be someone or a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do. These are the people that are really making us great in this country.
Jasmine Crockett has it wrong again. Not everybody goes to college. And for those people that don't go to college, should they have to compete against every other immigrant from every country in the world? I think not. If you would like to see America...
I let that part play out there. I actually pulled this intentionally to make my previous point. Here's a black woman making a point. Here's a black man countering that point. What do you do as a leftist to be like, well, I agree with the black person? Okay, you got to dig a little deeper because guess what? They're both black. Maybe it's not about skin color. Maybe you actually believe in ideas too, but you won't admit it or you've been too brainwashed to even think through that issue. But Jasmine Crockett, again, we've had I think it was, I always get her name wrong, Pramila Jayapal. We had Rashida Tlaib. They've all been out there on the House floor or on the whatever town hall campaign trail nonsense that they do, public speaking events. And they're like, but we need these people. We need slave labor. We need illegals to do all of this cheap work. Do you like having cheap blueberries in the grocery market? Well, that's because we have slave labor. I guess you can make that claim. Like, who's going to pick the cotton if you abolish slavery? Who's going to pick lettuce if we abolish illegal immigration? And this just in, I would gladly give up avocados and blueberries if it meant no more illegals. If you had a magic wand and said, I'm going to wave this wand for you, Todd, you got one of two options, one of two paths to go down. You can go down the path of, I'm just going to say we have 50 million illegals in this country because for my entire life, it's been 30 million. I kid you not. Let me know in the comments what number you think it is or what you've been told. I remember as a kid in the 90s, they were always like, we have about 30 million illegals. And then if you talk to people today, they're like, we have about 30 million illegals. No, we don't. So I'm going to say it's 50 conservatively. Nobody knows. Dems don't even know. Chuck Schumer got asked once, like, are you going to naturalize everybody? Do you know how many people that is? Like, no, I don't. Like, nobody knows. But if I could have a wand waved, rub the lamp, push a button on the box, whatever the case may be, and it's like, you can have blueberries or you can have no more illegals. They're all gone tomorrow. Folks, I am giving up blueberries. I'll throw in blueberries, lettuce, avocados. I don't need it that much. I would rather get every illegal out of this country. That's where I'm at. So Jasmine's trying to appeal to you, do you like having iceberg lettuce? When was the last time anyone ate iceberg lettuce, anyways? You're going to have bland lettuce, at least eat spinach if you're eating a salad. I don't need that slice of lettuce on my burger. Get rid of it. Fine. I don't care. There's no more blueberries for my smoothies. I love frozen blueberries. I guess I'll settle on a different fruit or plant some blueberry bushes. I got blueberry bushes in my yard. I'll survive. I'll subsist on that. Yes, get rid of all the illegals. I don't need produce that badly. The cost of me buying cheap blueberries doesn't even compare to the cost of supporting 50 million illegals in this country. But again, the point of the video, Jasmine Crockett, again, this is wild, folks. I hope you're sitting down for this, was just ranting about slavery in the United States. Taxes shouldn't be applied to blacks. We should just do reparations for blacks. America is an evil white supremacist country with an evil racist white supremacy past because of slavery. And oh, by the way, we need slavery. We need illegal slavery so that you can have cheaper groceries that most people don't eat anyways. Make that make sense. Jasmine Crockett, slavery was bad when it was blacks. Also, Jasmine Crockett, slavery is good when it's illegal brown people. That is her argument in a nutshell. These people hate everyone. I guess I have to branch out a little bit. Jasmine Crockett doesn't just hate white people, she hates Hispanics as well. Those people can go pick the crops. I'm not picking the crops with my long fingernails and my eyelashes that would get dirty, but those people, those dirty illegals can pick our crops, don't speak English, aren't educated because, I don't know about y'all, but I'm sending my kid to college, so they don't have to do that. I hate this woman. Folks, I hate this woman so much. I hate anybody that voted for this woman. I can't do it anymore. It's been an hour. I finally let loose a little bit. I hate everything about this woman, hate everyone that voted for her. Folks, we got 3 more clips here, and then we'll be signing off. This is Jasmine Crockett. So now we got to rewind. So earlier we saw the clip of her threatening violence, not threatening so much, but wishing violence on Elon Musk, encouraging violence against Ted Cruz because, God forbid, you just run a Senate campaign and you have your ideas and they have their ideas and voters choose what ideas they want. And again, democracy is an awful idea. I don't trust the mass ignorance of the American people, or any person for that matter. Too many dummies out there. Everyone's going to be voting let's talk to someone right now. They're like, I really liked Donald Trump, but then he started talking about tariffs, and I just don't know if I'm on board. And you're like, do you know anything about macroeconomics, global economics, how tariffs work in the first place? You know nothing about tariffs. Can you even tell me what a tariff is? And they're like, well, I like Donald Trump until he started doing tariffs. It's like, no, voting is too easy, folks. Voting is way too easy. But here's Jasmine, not backtracking, gaslighting. Take a listen to this.
Just in case the slow people listening decide to clip this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
When Pam Bondi, though, says, you know, tread carefully, what does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that she's attempting to get me to say, oh, I'm going to be scared and I'm just not going to say anything, because they are willing to literally break the law. I mean, that's what we've seen them do. They are ignoring court orders. They are ignoring what our own law.
All right, folks, it's been an hour, Jasmine. I can't finish the clip there, but no, I've never advocated for violence. I've never made excuses for violence. Didn't you know that Donald Trump supporters got framed in a Fedsurrection and they should be back in jail because they were pawns in the regime's narrative to frame Donald Trump as an insurrectionist and then apply quite unfairly, to use that's a very mild description of the 14th Amendment. It's all nonsense. We played the clips. You heard the clips. Go back to the previous part of the show. For my birthday, I want Elon Musk to be attacked. I think Ted Cruz needs to get hit harder next time because Colin Allred didn't do enough in the Senate campaign. But yes, that is just lying and gaslighting. And Francis makes a great point. Let's go back to the comments here for a second. Why isn't the hospitality sector okay? She downgrades it. At least it's an honest job. No, yeah, Francis, great point here. Again, this is the condescension of the Democrat Party. All these fools, you could say the coastal elites. My wife just took a trip to Arizona for a reunion for grad school, and some classmate of hers makes a lot of money. She married an anesthesiologist. They live in a gated community in the suburbs of Atlanta. They own a home in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I mean, they are so out of touch. They are so snobby. I don't know where I'm going with that story, by the way, but I think that's just the Democrat voter out there, and they're like, you're an idiot if you're MAGA. They have no idea, but yeah, why isn't the hospitality sector okay? Absolutely. They're all honest jobs. Picking lettuce, I mean, I'm not disparaging for doing that. I wouldn't last 5 hours one day. By the end of one day, I'd be like, I'm never picking lettuce again. I literally can't stand up straight. My back has been thrown out. I'll never be the same for the rest of my life. The work those illegals do on those farms is nothing short of incredible. And the opportunities when they're parents, they're like, this job sucks. I came to America so that you would have a better life. You better apply yourself in school and work hard and get a job that does not require manual labor, because this is awful and nobody should have to do this. By the way, why don't we have machines picking lettuce? Like how we have rockets going up to space, landing back in a booster, getting grabbed. We can't automate like produce collection. You're telling me we can't make a little machine that goes down the lettuce rows or shakes the blueberry bushes? I can't believe that. I think the tech exists. You know what? They just want illegals here for the votes. They don't even want them here for labor, because if you got rid of the illegals, you could definitely automate that sector. I have no doubt about it. I've always wondered that. Why don't we automate all of this? I was in Spain, and I'm pretty sure they had a device like shake the olive trees. It can be done. It can absolutely be done. But yes, Jasmine Crockett looks down on you if you perform menial work. You know who the nicest people were when I was in the school systems? I was a teacher. I was an assistant principal. I never had a single, I know there's bad people out there, but I never had a bad example. I was in 5 different schools. The janitorial staff comprised the nicest, kindest, most hardworking group of people in that entire system. Teachers, many of them good, but they complain all the time and they hide behind their union, their public sector union. That's another argument. District office, anyone in district office just sucks as a human being. I'm sorry. You are an awful person. You have no reality. You have no idea what's going on in the classroom. Actually, the cafeteria staff was great too. But again, cafeteria staff, janitorial staff, they never get credit for anything. They don't get paid a lot. They show up. They're not seen. The kids ignore them. They throw garbage on the ground. They get loud in the cafeteria. Yeah, I know you're talking about a hospitality sector. I mean, as it relates to my experience in the school system, I hated everything about the government school system. But the people that performed janitorial work, that were working in the cafeteria, they were honest, nice, hardworking people. There is nothing wrong with having that job, by the way. You know what? Whatever job you're in, just do the best job possible. Be proud of the work that you do. There's no shame in being a janitor. No shame in working in the cafeteria. There is no shame in picking cotton, for that matter. Or picking cotton. God, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. For picking lettuce. There is nothing wrong with working in the hospitality sector. You're changing beds in a hotel. Good for you. You're working. My argument, folks, I have to separate the micro from the macro. My issue is not with hardworking illegal immigrants that are getting paid under the table by the hotel chain. They're getting paid under the table to go pick lettuce by Big Food. There are, without question, good people doing those jobs. The issue is at the macro level. The issue is the fact that this system is allowed to go on the way it goes on. We shouldn't allow Big Food to hire illegals to cheaply pick their food that they can then turn around and make massive profits in the grocery store chains. We shouldn't have hotel chains making tons of money off of the backs of illegal labor. They should have to pay fair wages to Americans here. So my criticisms of illegal immigration, yes, I don't want any of the dudes here, but at the same time, I'm not talking about individuals on a micro scale. I am talking about the system as a whole at a macro scale. Nothing wrong with working hard. I wish more people would work hard. We seem to have a problem. I don't want to pick on Gen Z because it seems kind of trite, but you've got kids that grew up in middle-class families. They never saw how hard their parents worked. They never saw the times that their parents were in their 20s and never had any money. But then when they were growing up, they had everything they wanted. TV, video games, cell phones, cars, whatever. We're taking vacations again. They didn't really see behind the scenes of what it takes to just have material wealth and success. And so they're like, I don't want to work hard. You mean I'm only going to make $10 an hour? Forget that. I'm going to go live in my parents' basement. We need a work ethic again in America. And I know Vivek Ramaswamy got hammered for saying that stuff. I went after Vivek on X at the time, made some comment why we need H-1B visa workers because Americans are too stupid and lazy. And they'll be motivated by all these Indians coming over to the call centers in the tech space. And it's like, not directionally true, poorly messaged. But yes, there is a work ethic problem. When I was assistant principal hiring young teachers out of school, they did not want to work hard. They wanted it to be show up. If there's any problem in the classroom, Todd, you deal with it as the assistant principal. No, I don't want to go to these meetings or plan a lesson or a more meaningful lesson. They would just leave. They're like, this is too hard. People don't want to work hard. I don't blame teachers for leaving. It is hard work and it's unrewarding at a certain point and nobody likes you. And you have to brainwash kids to hate awful things. But the people that get into it, it's like, no, you need to work hard a little bit. You need to reflect on your experience. That was a long way to say, Francis. Thanks for the comment there. Just a long way to say that, like, no, there's no shame in working at a hard job. Profields hops in the chat. Yeah, my father-in-law came from Peru legally. He left his bank manager job and became a janitor for the state of California. He was the kindest man. Crow, love the comment. Yeah, I mean, side note, I lived in Peru for a year. I taught English in Peru. Everyone I met in Peru was fantastic. I was in the city of Cusco. Everyone down there is amazing. Came back and I lived in Denver for a while. I worked in a classroom with a Peruvian immigrant that I think was on like a green card work visa sort of deal, and she was teaching in a bilingual school. Incredible woman. I'd go out with her and her friends. Yeah, everyone from Peru that I met is amazing. And then, but you're making my point here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. He left a good job and then took on, I'm not going to say a job that was beneath him, but he took a job to support his family. And I have no doubt he was a kind man. Like, yes, so everyone, like I said, everyone in my experience in the school system, as god awful as the government school system is, all of the janitors, all of the cafeteria workers were so kind, so thoughtful, so helpful, and they never got any credit, no recognition. Like, those people are invisible to 99% of school staff. Like, the teachers, most of the administrators, if not all the administrators, they just walk right by them. But man, love your story, Crow. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for watching. We got to finish up here, folks. What are we down to? Thank goodness. We only have 2 more Jasmine Crockett clips. Folks, an hour and 8 minutes on Jasmine Crockett. This isn't even all of them, but these are some of the bigger ones here. Oh, wait, we did the Gaslight one. We have 1 video left. Thank goodness, folks. 1 more Jasmine Crockett video left. I saved this one for the end, talking about how... I'm going to throw that one on there as well. Mouthpiece for communism. Yeah, an evil... Like, if communism can get worse, it's like a race-based communism. Like, look at South Africa. Who is advocating for becoming South Africa? Industries falling apart when you remove all the qualified white people, stealing white people's land, government-sanctioned murder of white people. There's stories out there, if you're a woman, you're allowed to basically run red lights because if you idle your car for a second, people are going to jump out and try to, I don't know, steal your car at best, maybe assault your body at worst. So yeah, we don't want to head down that direction whatsoever. But again, I saved this video for last. Everything about Jasmine Crockett is fraudulent. It is evil. She is representative of the Democrat Party. I am picking on Jasmine, but she is a proxy for all of the evils, all of the terrible ideas, all of the worthless ideologies promoted by this party at this point. And it's all fake. At the end of the day, folks, it is all fake. I think Jasmine Crockett's hatred of this country and hatred of you is genuine, but how she presents herself, and if you remember the clip earlier of her like rapping that stupid rap video where she's trying to look all tough, you wouldn't know this is the same person. I will just play this video without any more content or context. Listen to Jasmine Crockett, and you try to figure out who's the real Jasmine.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, you know. But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do, for sure. We got some cool shirts. You know, the congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat. And I was just starting to get into the rhythm of doing constituent services and things like that. We got Madam.
I'm going to stop right there. The clip got edited to show a side-by-side of Jasmine. It doesn't play very well there. The point I'm trying to make with this, though, is like, this is someone, a little background on Jasmine, we saved this nugget for the end. This is someone that attended a private school her entire life. Tuition was $35,000 per year. Jasmine Crockett grew up with a life of privilege. You heard earlier clips going after it was Nancy Mace off camera, and then one of the clips, how dare you scream about white privilege? You don't know anything about me. Jasmine Crockett went to a more expensive high school than probably 99.99% of Americans. We are talking upper echelon of society. You don't just go to a $35,000 high school and not grow up with a little bit of privilege, as they like to say. And yeah, it is a privilege. She certainly mismanaged that privilege. Like back in the day, the wealthy, they would practice noblesse oblige. They would give back. They would take care of society. They wanted a functioning society. They looked after the workers on their properties. They would run for office to manage the affairs of the country. Nowadays, though, you got these communist assholes that have a ton of privilege, have never had a real job. Jasmine Crockett, by the way, I think she went to law school. I mean, they let anybody in law school if you check the right boxes nowadays. Doesn't mean anything. I do not care about your credentials. Her actions speak a lot louder than whatever fake degrees that she's got on the wall. And then she like, I didn't play this clip, but she's over there saying, I have 2 honorary doctorates. Okay, well, what does that mean? So I'm not a big fan of credentialism, so I don't care about her law background. But then she was in the State House, and now she's in Congress, and I'm supposed to be impressed by that. But again, listen to her mannerisms and her speech and her tone. She's so composed. She's so calm. Thanks for being with me here today. This is a great opportunity. I'm just so proud of the work I did. And then you contrast that to the clips, every other clip we just played, and she code switches. And again, I think this might actually, well, I guess I'm going to say I'm agnostic on that. I don't know who the real Jasmine Crockett is. I don't think she knows who the real Jasmine Crockett is anymore. I would guess it's more the ratchet ghetto version. I think by default you would slip back into that. So this is probably the act right here. I'm composing myself. I'm going to win over the white voters. Look at me. I talk so well. And then it turns out you're just voting for some trash human being. But it worked. It worked. The people in Houston voted for her. It's not a 100% black district. These white liberals that are just like, I'm going to feel good about myself and vote for this woman because it's time for a black woman to represent our district. But Jasmine Crockett grew up with a life of luxury, life of privilege, can obviously play the part right here. Which one is it? You're getting lied to every day. I'm questioning who the authentic Jasmine is. I have my guesses. I think I know what's correct here. But again, tying it back into the headline, everything wrong with Dems, all it is lying to you. They portray in the media, look at me, I'm so well-spoken and articulate and calm and humble and grateful for the opportunity. And then she has none of that in her heart. It's all an act. Everything you see on the media, it's a lie. They are putting lipstick on the pig. They're lying to you. And then behind the scenes, they are mocking you, laughing at you, throwing you in prison if you support Donald Trump in the cases that were with January 6th. It is all shenanigans, folks, all shenanigans. But with that being said, I went a lot longer than I intended today. I appreciate you tuning in. We had the chat. We got Kagan Girl, Francis Crowfields. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. looking at the counts here, we had some YouTube, some Rumble folks that were watching, not commenting, no problem there whatsoever. I am on Locals now. I have barely set up a Locals page, but it always says some person is watching on Locals. So I promise I'll get that going. Locals, haven't had a chance to really dive into it too much, but I think you can do like subscriptions over there and show your support. I'm not a big fan of asking for money. I don't do ad reads on the show. I never ask for subscriptions or necessarily. I'm not looking for your money, folks. I am not trying to grift off of anybody. I just like to do the show. I like to build a community here. I know a lot of our viewers here, Crow, Francis, Kagan Girl, you watch our show on Friday. So I'm never going to ask for anybody's money. I don't want anyone's money. It's good enough just to get on camera. It's cathartic for me. It's an opportunity for me to be like, okay, Jasmine Crockett is on my mind. What's bothering me about Jasmine Crockett? Boom, compile the videos. Boom, talk about it with y'all. So that's good enough for me. I just enjoy doing this. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in today. Again, this is the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. If you're listening on the audio version, if you're on Spotify or Apple, we're going to be dropping this on the main Rumble channel, the American Tribune. So if you are watching on the main channel, the American Tribune, be sure to head over to our second Rumble channel, the one I created just for this podcast, the American Tribune Live with Todd Peterson. We go live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Central or thereabouts. I'm still trying to get on like the Rumble Who's Who. I know Chris Pavlovsky, he's got like Tim Pool now and Steven Crowder doing exclusive Rumbles, and the Quartering's got a big time slot. Everyone's got their show. I'm like, hey, don't forget about the American Tribune, Chris. And with that being said, though, Crow adds multiple personalities. Yes, they can hold conflicting thoughts. They'll say two opposite things. We need to tax everybody because that's how we fund the government. And also, we shouldn't tax blacks because they get more money in their pocket, and that's freedom. There's so many examples, Slavery's bad. We need reparations, but also we need slavery nowadays so we get cheap lettuce, which, by the way, I'm all about making lettuce disappear if it means making illegals disappear. Francis says ghetto. Yeah, she is ghetto trash. I don't know how else to say it. That might have racial connotations or racial tones. Certainly not meant to have any animus towards the black community, but like, if it's ghetto, it's ghetto. And you can have white ghetto trash. You can have anybody be ghetto. But yeah, she is absolutely ghetto, and it's no good. But with that being said, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching today. I had a blast today. I finally got this off my chest. I have been wanting to do a dive on Jasmine Crockett for so long, and then she opened her mouth this week and went after Ted Cruz and Elon Musk, and I was like, perfect, let's do it. But we'll be back next Thursday, folks. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9:30 a.m. Central. So we'll catch you in 2 days. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.
Starting on day one, we'll implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Great again. Great again.